Hello there, this is Vincent here, and today I'm going to do a video recording on OpenShift with NSX-T 2.3. So in OpenShift 3.11 release, the integration with NSX-T happens quite natively, right? So what do I mean by that? So if you look at the version of the OpenShift version I have is 3.11, and if you look at the playbooks, you have the NSX playbooks by default, right? So you do not need to manually download from GitHub repo and stuff like this, right? So it makes the installation of the NSX-T much more easier. Alright, so before I begin, let me show you the environment that I'll be using for my installation. So this is a pretty typical vSphere environment with NSX-T setup. The NSX-T version I'm using is 2.3, and the network container plugin that I'm using is actually 2.3.2. Okay, so I have the edge clusters where my edge are residing, and I have the compute clusters where I created 3 VMs, one master node and 2 worker nodes. What I did here was I download the RHEL 7.6, and I did a couple of YUM updates, and install the copy the NCP file so that I do not need to replicate to all the nodes, right? So once that's done, I basically clone into 3 VMs and change the IP address and the host name, right? And you can view the whole instruction on how to prepare the RHEL on my blog, right? So I kind of validated it with 3.11. I did some updates, and things to take note is the repo for 3.11 is different, right? So you probably need to change this while installing 3.11, right? And the last time when I wrote my blog, I'm still using RHEL 7.5 and 2.1.3 NCP, so the file is different. So in 3.11 I actually use NCP 2.3.2, so the file name is over here, right? Okay, so basically this you can follow this steps to get the environment up. So basic test is to make sure that you can, from the master node, you can actually SSH to the worker nodes without entering any password, right? Okay, so once that's done, the next thing is to prepare the NSX-T environment. So I had that in my blog as well. So if you go in over here, you can see what is required to set up on NSX-T to prepare for the OpenShift and NSX-T integration. All right. So the key thing is the host file, or what we call as the inventory file. So I'll be showing you here some of the configuration. So what you need to do is before you start running the prereq, download this file on my GitHub repo, and then you can change the settings as we wish, right? So basically, let me show you the file. well, the file is here, right? I already have it. So after you download, you need to put in your username and password, right? So that's the one that you actually log into the Red Hat portal, right? That is required for here. So let's before I do the prereq, let's show you what are the configuration that you need to change and where in NSX you can actually find this. So one thing that I'm actually using here is you can use the NSX username and password, but if you do not want to use in my demo here, I'm actually using, let me see, well, you can see that I'm actually using a certificate, right? So you can see that I comment out the admin VMware I'm going to use certificate. So I also did a blog entry for that, so you can actually go into my blog and you should be able to find like this blog post on how to create a cert and use this instead of the admin account of NSX-T for the integration, right? So all the objects, all the NSX-T objects will be created using the principal identity, right? So that's over here. You can use that. Okay, so that is out. Okay, so you need to follow the steps in my blog so that you can have a web server that hosting all this RPM files. So basically I just installed Nginx on my jump host so that I can host all these files over here. Okay, so that's about it. Okay, let's go and look at the Nsx setup. Right, so first thing first, you need the tier 0 router, so that's where you go into router. Right, so I have all my nodes, all the 3 nodes connecting to my T1 management, and that is actually connecting to my T0, right? So you need to specify which T0 that you connected to. Okay, so this is the overlay, right? So if you go into fabric and transport zone, right, you get to see what's the overlay. So this is the one that is being connected for my Geneva overlay. So that's where you put it over here. Sorry. Okay, and you need to create 3 IP segment for different usage. So the container IP block is basically networking for the ports, right? So there's few IP ranges being reserved by Docker, so you do not use those, right? So where do you define this? It's in so in terms of IP block is under IPAM, okay, and this is where you define the port networking. So I'm using 10.12.00/16 for my port networking, right? The other one is the no SNet. So if you define a notation where you do not need to net, right, a no net, so that will come out from the block, come out from the block of 10.11.80/21, right? So I'm using /21 here. You can use /19, you can use /16, right? Totally up to you, right? How many you so each namespace that you created without no net, you will consume a /24 from this CIDR. Next thing would be the IP pool. Okay, so I created so you have a pool for tab and you also have a pool for net. So in my case, I'm using 10.11.20/24. So if you can see over here, this is where you define your external pool, right? So each T1 or each namespace created a net an IP address will be issued out from this pool, and it will be used by that namespace, right? So next is the firewall section. So you need to define the distributed firewall top and bottom section. So basically you just create sections and name it and synchronize it with the configuration that you put in your inventory file. Alright, so next thing is the all the port that will be used for all the port networking. So if you look at the nodes, right, should be two interfaces. So this interface is actually the management IP address, and it needs to have access to the NSX T manager, right? So if your NSX T manager, in my case, which is on a different subnet, you need to have default gateway so that it can actually reach the NSX T manager. So this is actually very important over here, right? The other one is the ENS224. So you do not need to assign an IP address for this interface, but you need to do the tagging, right? So where is the tagging been done? So so before you run a prereq, after you set up the rel template, you need to create another interface, and this one you need to create a logical switch, right? In this case here is the I call it the logical switch VIPs. So if you see this, there's actually 3 logical ports connecting to, right? So once you click on it, right, so you get to see the virtual machine. So when you click on here, you get to see the tags. So I already created a tags, right? So you can see you need to specify 2 tags, 1 cluster tag and 1 node tag. So you need to do it for all the 3 VMs, right? So I'll show you for node 1 over here, right? So you can see that it's here, right? So this tagging is very important, and you need it over here. And so I'll show you the last one, right? So this is done, okay? And the node you need to be aligned to what you have it in your inventory file, right? So over here, here. Okay, so I guess that's the environment that I have. So I'm going to start running the prereq. Doing the prereq. So the pre-rec has complete. So now we will proceed with the deploy clusters. So before we log in there, let me show you. In NSX Manager, you can see that there is, all the switches that you configured and the routers, right, are the one that we configured. So there's a bunch of default logical switches and routers that will be created after we integrate NSX with Openshift. Okay. So the next step that we need to do is to load in the NCP images, right? So you have to do it on every node. So you need to tag the image. Okay, so once that's done, you pretty much can deploy the cluster. Right. Okay, so this will gonna take some time, and I'll just leave it running. Alright, so the deploy clusters has went on successfully. So let's see. Yep, so you can see that the ports are running. Okay, let's take a look at all namespaces. Yep, you can see all the default, even the NSX ports are running, right? So you can see over here. So to make sure that there's no errors, right, we can sorry, let's take a look at NCP. You can grab for errors. That's good, there's no error. Okay, so if your integration is successfully done, right, and if you go into your NSX T manager, you should see a bunch of default switches being created, right? So you see, so these are the namespaces, and it's all created over here. So if you go into the routers, right, you get to see the same thing as well, right? All right, so that's good. So the other thing is the load balancer, right? So same thing, you get to see the load balancer over here. So you have the virtual server, so you can have a wildcard domain being created and point it to this IP address. So in my case, let's say for example, right, we're just trying to say yap.ocpapps.aspot.com. You can see that it's actually resolved. So I've already previously added, and I'm going to use it for my app, for the testing app from here, right? That's good. So the other thing to check, like, you know, if you have successfully installed OpenShift, right, you should be able to go to the web console, okay, over here. Yeah, but this has not much to do with the NCP, right? Okay, so let's test the NCP and make sure that it works correctly. All right, so what I have here is a demo app, a Yap demo app. Okay, so I'll create a new project called Yelp. All right, and okay, I'll clone the app. So probably I already have it over here. No, okay, so let me download it. Okay, so you can see all the manifest, it's over here. So I'm going to use this as a test, right? So you can take a look at it. So I believe I need to change this, right? So I'm going to change to the wildcard domain that I've been using in my lab, which is OCP apps. Okay, so you create ingress, right? Good. Okay, so you can see that there's no resource being found. Okay, and I'm gonna create based on this. All right, so yeah, before I do this, yeah, you need to add this policy, right? You know, the containers will not be able to create. Okay, OC create dash F create yep app. All right, so let's see the containers being created. So while it's creating, let me show you, right? So when you create a new project, right, so you get to see where's the Yelp one. You should be able to see the there you go, over here, right? So you have a logical switch, and you also will have a T1 router being created as well, right? So let me refresh it. Yeah, there you go, this is the one, right? So right now, okay, so let's take a look at the okay, so I think the containers are being created. Yeah, so some of it are creating, right? So you can see that the ports, right? So these are the applications. So I'm running now. Okay, give it a while more. Okay, so all the 5 ports are running. That's good. Let's see. Get all. If you want to see the IP address, you can actually put a white. Get port, where you can see the actual IP address of the port itself, right? So that's being taken from the port IP pool, right? Okay, so let's take a look at the ingress being created, right? Or in OpenShift is known as route. So you take this and then you open a browser, right? There you go. So the app is being launched successfully, and you can see that the NCP created the objects, and the CNI plugin is also working. We managed to connect all the ports to the logical switch, right, as you can see from here. Okay, so yep, guess that's it for my demo and the video recording of the installation. I wish you success in your installation too. Thanks for watching my video, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.